If I told you there's a type of bread in the Bible, designed by God himself, not by any chef, a divine recipe meant to fuel the body and stir the soul. Buried in the book of Ezekiel is a list of ingredients straight from heaven: wheat, barley, lentils, beans, millet, and spelt. Together they form a perfect nutritional code. Every essential amino acid your body needs to survive. The prophet Ezekiel lived on nothing but this bread for 390 days. No meat, no fruit, no extras. Just what God told him to bake. And it was enough. Today people call it Ezekiel bread. It's sprouted, fermented, alive, some say. More than just food, it's fuel for body and spirit. They claim it cleanses, strengthens, even awakens something deeper inside. Would you try the same bread a prophet once survived on?
What if I told you that that was just a bold-faced lie and a mischaracterization of what the Bible actually says? And that if any one of you Christians who believe in this book, or any one Bible believer, period, believes in this book and think that you can eat Ezekiel bread for 390 days, that you're not going to have massive health problems, you're fooling yourself. And you will find yourself just like those pastors who thought that they can walk into a lion's den, they got their ass ate up. Those who thought that they could not eat or drink for 40 days and they died. You will find yourself severely malnourished and weak. So let me break it down for you. Now, this page is a Christian deconstructionist page, but in my history of occupation, I used to own a gym and had a fitness company. I'm a certified personal trainer as well as a master nutritionist by ISSA. Now, let's break it down. Is Ezekiel bread, does it have dense nutrition in it? Is it nutrient rich? It is, without a doubt. Ezekiel bread is a good health food to eat. But can you survive for 390 days on just Ezekiel bread? A fairly healthy person would be able to survive. But what is the condition of their survival? You see, in the Bible, they try to make it seem like Ezekiel was just thriving off of this, or at least the interpretation does. But when you actually read the story concerning this Ezekiel bread, what you find out is that the city of Jerusalem was under siege, and it had been under siege for this period of time. While being under siege, the people were being punished by this God. So the Ezekiel bread wasn't something to bolster the people. It was a punishment by this God. And this is relative to the fact that throughout history, we don't do it in modern day, but from about 50 years ago on back, you will find situations where prisoners who were needed to be severely punished were given a diet of just bread and water. This is done because they know, and we've always known, that bread and water will sustain you. And Ezekiel only had 2.5 cups of water, that it will sustain you, but you will be malnourished after 30 days, and you will be severely dehydrated, and you will be incredibly weak. You will experience stomach pains and all other types of issues if that's all you consumed for 30 days, not talking about 390 days. So while under this siege, though people would have been severely ill, and many would have died who had health issues, preconditioned health issues. Now, I know what some people are going to say. We have GMOs and we got all these other soy that was in the Ezekiel bread is not the soy today. It was more natural and the water was cleaner and so on and so forth. This is a rose-colored lenses type of mentality. The nutritional value that the majority of people ate back then was not at such a high level that this bread would have been able to sustain them. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why the infant mortality rate was so high and why more women died during childbirth and after childbirth is because there was a general lack of nutrition for most people in that region at that time frame. So for them to go that amount of time just eating Ezekiel bread, they would not have found themselves in a healthier state. Many of you like your little Daniel's diets, and you can do that for 30 days. But if you continue on that process for longer than 30 days without adding other fruits and vegetables and other carbohydrates to your diet, you can go without meat, but other carbohydrates to your diet, you're not going to be in a healthy state. It's just biology. It has nothing to do with your God or the belief in your God. But the fact that this was a prison torture, a process of punishment that your God was doing to the people of Jerusalem at that time frame, simply demonstrates actually how evil this God was. That he wanted them to be in a weakened state. He wanted them to be in a nutrition state. So when you consider this and you think about also the water that he's drinking, it is well documented that the waters of those regions were vastly more polluted than the waters of those regions today, or the waters that we drink. You got to remember, these were agrarian people. These were people who bathed their animals in the waters upstream. These were the people who threw out their sewage, because they didn't have sewage systems like we have today, who threw their sewage into the river. So the river is filled with animal feces, human feces, shit, bacteria, and all other sorts of things that will endanger a person's body. Most of the people in America or most other Western countries, if you went to a third world nation, third world level industrial nation, you can't even drink the water. You got to bring your own bottled water, or you're liable to get all kinds of issues going on with you. The water was not cleaner back then than it is today. They may have adapted a little bit better to that water, but it was not clean water. And because the water was also not as clean as people want to think that it was, when you irrigate those lands from those rivers and streams that got all the human shit and animal shit and washing and bathing of the animals all up in it, all you're doing is growing crops with contaminated water. And when that contamination of the water gets into the food, so it's not as clean as y'all like to romanticize it to be. So please, 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 for your own sake, do not get this Ezekiel bread and think that that's all you can live on for 390 days. You will end up in the hospital. It is a pretty much about a 90% chance. And with the health of most people today, that's 100% chance that you're going to end up in the hospital for malnutrition. So I know y'all are stout believers, some of y'all. But this is not something that you should follow. This is not something that you should believe. Read the entire story and understand the situation that was going on based on this story, so that you don't fool yourself into thinking that you're going to be seen or you're going to be more pious if you were to do this Ezekiel challenge. So, hey, I'm only telling you because I love you. And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.